leaders and rabbis and announced that he supports the right of Israel to self-defense. He called this self-defense. When we visited the mayor to tell him, because he said, I saw the fear in the eyes of the Israeli children. When we asked him, did you see the blood in the eyes of the Palestinian children? When he said that Israelis are living underground in bunkers, we told him, did you think about those who don't have the luxury of having a bunker? Then you find that he is a man in a very important position, who dealt with us, attended our function, had a zilch understanding about the situation. And he says, I base my opinion on briefings I get. Guess who's giving the briefing? You know. As a matter of fact, we demanded to be part of that briefing process. Probably it will not be that brief. But this is the reality that we have to face. We have to defy certain fallacies that are circulated very actively. And I name some of them very fast for the sake of time. Number one, the fallacy that Israel has nothing else to do because they keep throwing rockets. And as I mentioned, we expressed our opinion about rockets against Israel several times. But this is a fallacy, because this recent wave of violence did not start by the rockets. It started by the blockade of Gaza, to punish people of Gaza because they elected the wrong government. And that blockade led to death and suffering and deprivation and starvation and, more importantly, to despair. And desperate people will do desperate things throughout human history. So we have to make it a talking point. This problem did not start by the rockets. This problem started by the blockade. The ceasefire has been violated by Israel since November. During the ceasefire, they killed at least a dozen Palestinians on different attacks. So the starting point is wrong. It has to be moved. The other fallacy is the equivalence. And this comes from people in good faith sometimes. They are suffering and those are suffering. No, excuse me. These are suffering and those are suffering. And we cannot put an equivalence there. There is something that I want you to be very aware of. Some people come and say, we will help, of course, we will send aid. That's great, appreciated, and we have to be very thankful. But the problem is not aid. Because if we know that kangaroos or whales are endangered species, we send them aid. Those are human beings. What they are lacking before medicine and the electricity and water, they are lacking the due human dignity and the freedom. So don't reduce the issue to be that the issue is lacking the medicine or food. Yes, they are lacking medicine and food, and this is shameful. But this, don't massage your conscience by saying, I put few dollars, or I give them, or give them a coat, or we are collecting things to go there. That should be done. That's the least any human being with an iota of humanity in him or in her should do. But the issue is not that. It is not that you go and throw food to the animals in the cage. Those are not animals. Those are human beings. God blew in them from their spirit and entitled them to dignity. So those are some of the fallacies that you should be aware of. And there is a difference between feeling the pain of others, which is compassion, feeling the sorrow for others, which is sadness, with the being depressed. The first is human reaction. The second is pathology. What does depression lead to? Being paralyzed, ineffective, or suicidal. And all of the above is happening to our nation. We have to snap out of depression. The Prophet ﷺ used to say in his dua, Allahumma inni a'udhu bika min al-hammi wal-hazan. God protect me. I seek refuge with you from anxiety and depression, with the common modern terminology. So we have to snap out of that and try to ascend above the fall and try to approach issues and the people in the last 2 weeks. And history will not be tomorrow and the next month. History is going according to the time of God. And things cannot stay the same and will not stay the same. And we can see the rays of light behind the thick clouds. We can see at least that elusive thing that we say unity amongst Muslims. It is happening. All Muslims from Morocco to Indonesia are feeling the same way, saying the same thing, and trying to change the same situations that need to be changed. Isn't this unity? And it will result in something. Don't look at the government. Those are odd, artificial structures imposed on the masses. But the masses themselves are the same. I try to find a Muslim that I disagree with on that issue, it will be impossible. So there is a sense of unity. The Palestinian issue that they thought it is marginalized and will be put in the shelf, and what we have to do is to go to the Iranians and say you don't have to do with Palestine, or to go to the Pakistanis and say those Arabs are leading you to failure, and go to this. Due to the suffering of Gaza, this evaporated in a moment. And the Palestinian issue is imposing itself on the agenda of the world and on the conscience of human beings. And this will result in something. So, my dear brothers and sisters, there is a tomorrow that will be, inshallah, better than today. There is a morning after this long, nightmarish night. The point is, don't lose yourself overnight. Keep looking for the tomorrow and keep weaving together